In this video, I'm going to be discussing how much money you need to make to live comfortably in the state you reside in. But before I do, welcome to the quietest ones in the room with your host, Trey. I gotta say it, just the mere fact that you have clicked onto this video and you are listening to the sound of my voice, you by far are the most intelligent people on the face of the planet. So once again, thank you for joining me. So here we go. I came across an article on CNBC that I wanted to address because it piqued my interest. I know it's something that you think about, and you may know, you may not know, but certainly everyone likes to know where they stack up. And so the headline for this article on CNBC is, "The salary a single person needs to live comfortably in all 50 U.S. states." And in particular, there are two states they say you need at least $120,000 and maybe you live in said state. But before I go over this, I'm going to say I'm not going over all 50 states. I'm going to go over at least the most populous states. And I'll put this article's link on this page and you can click on it and you can look at your particular state if I don't cover it. So in this article, it goes on to say Americans earning a regular salary may have trouble living comfortably in all 50 states. And you may say, well, what is that regular salary? Some people look at the average. Some people look at the median. I like to look at the median income because that's at least a better representation to me of the financial conditions of those around me. So the median income, which represents 50% of the people above and 50% of the people are below this line, is $62,000 in the United States. And that was recorded at the end of 2024. So last year, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics. But it takes a salary of at least $80,000 for a single adult to live comfortably in the state of West Virginia. So just let that sink in. So the median annual salary for an individual in this country is $62,000. But if you want to live comfortable in West Virginia, you need to be making $80,000 at least. Now, the question is, what is comfortable defined as? Well, Smart Asset, who is a part of this article, defines comfortable as earning enough to follow the 50-30-20 budget method, which recommends putting 50% of your income towards essentials like rent and food, 30% towards discretionary spending, and 20% toward debt repayment and savings. Now, you probably heard that and you're saying to yourself, I'm not in a situation to follow that in the least bit, but I feel comfortable. And maybe you do. And the thing about finances is that it's not a one size fits all because everyone's situation is different. Maybe you live in a house that you inherited, so you're just paying the taxes on it, and your income and is enough to have a substantial, more than comfortable life. I don't know, but you know this. Anyhow, moving forward with this article, it says, on the other side of the spectrum from West Virginia, residents in Hawaii need to earn a minimum of $124,000 a year to live comfortably. And another state, because there's only two states where you need at least $120,000 as an individual to live comfortably, it's Massachusetts. Now, I've never been to either of these states, but I've heard from those that I know who visited these states that they're beautiful places. Obviously, Hawaii is known to be a beautiful place. But how expensive it is when I know people who have visited and people I know who actually reside in these states. Boston is ridiculously expensive, and Hawaii obviously is ridiculously expensive. So if you decide you want to move there, that's what they're saying you need to live comfortably. If you live there currently and you're listening and you're not making this money, maybe you're now hearing for the first time why you don't feel comfortable. So let's move forward. Let's get into some of these states and how much you need to make to live comfortably. I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, let's look at Alaska. Alaska, you need $100,000. I might actually go through all 50. Let's go through all 50. Alabama, you need $85,000. Arizona, $101,000. Arkansas, $81,000. California, $119,000. Colorado, $105,000. Connecticut, $105,000. Delaware, $97,000. Florida, $97,000. Georgia, $99,000. Hawaii, covered that, $124,000. Idaho, $96,000. Illinois, $98,000. Indiana, $86,000. Iowa, $86,000. Kansas, $87,000. Kentucky, $83,000. Louisiana, $85,000. Maine, $96,000. Maryland, $108,000. Massachusetts, I covered that, $120,000. Michigan, $87,000. Minnesota, $91,000. Mississippi, $86,000. Missouri, $86,000. Montana, $92,000. Nebraska, $87,000. I'm amazed by Montana and Nebraska. Nevada, $99,000. New Hampshire, $103,000. New Jersey, $108,000. I thought New Jersey would actually be more than that. New Mexico, $87,000. New York, $114,000. You would think New York would be in the $120,000 range, but it's not. North Carolina, where I reside, is $93,000. That makes sense. I can feel that. North Dakota, $82,000. Ohio, $84,000. I have friends there. It's getting more and more expensive in Ohio. Oklahoma, $84,000. Oregon, $104,000. Pennsylvania, $95,000. You'd think it'd be more there as well. Rhode Island, $101,000. South Carolina, $92,000. I'd actually think it'd be less in South Carolina. South Dakota, $82,000. Tennessee, $91,000. Texas, $90,000. Utah, $99,000. Vermont, $99,000. Virginia, $106,000. Washington, $109,000. West Virginia, $80,000. Oh my goodness. I mentioned that earlier. Wisconsin, but I'm still surprised. Wisconsin, $87,000. And Wyoming, $87,000 as well. Can you believe $80,000? It seems, is that number, per this article, is a ridiculous amount of money that you need to live in some of these states. I cannot believe the amount it takes to live in places like Nevada and Nebraska. I guess Nevada makes sense. Nebraska, $87,000, that is ridiculous to me. See, what this is highlighting is what I talk about often, which is inflation is off the charts. Housing is not coming down. Your vehicle prices aren't coming down. The food prices for your goods are not coming down. We already see places like Walmart are talking about increasing prices due to tariffs. People are trying to run to places like Dollar General and the Dollar Tree just to save a penny or two. But eventually those companies will raise prices as well due to inflation. I remember when I was younger, the price of gas, and I look at it now and I say to myself, would it ever get back to that? Of course it will not. Prices go up. Inflation is baked into the Federal Reserve's mission in this country. So no matter what, the dollar year over year is devalued, but yes, inflation can be worse depending on economic policies and political agendas, like we see with the tariffs, like we saw with the pandemic, like we saw during the housing market crash in 2008, like we see during war times. It's never ending. But I wanted to bring this to you, ladies and gentlemen, because we know that it's not cheap to live here. And all this does to me is emphasize, if you're single and you know that you need to pull in at least $80,000 to be comfortable, and you're struggling, maybe you should find you somebody to start a relationship with that's loving and caring, and start a family, and you pull your incomes together. And that's not necessarily advice that everybody needs, but some of you are struggling, and maybe you struggling with somebody else together is the best setup for you. Just maybe, just maybe, just maybe. And we know that there are a lot of other issues going on in this country besides the amount of money that you need to make to live comfortably. Obviously, keeping your job as we move forward is going to become more and more difficult. We're seeing more and more layoffs in this country than we've seen in a long time. So I wanted to provide these numbers to you. I didn't think I would go through all 50, but wherever you reside, I hope that all is well with you. I hope that you are living comfortably. I hope that you are safe and sound. I hope that you are blessed. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, ladies and gentlemen, until next time.